God bless you. What troubles you?
Well, young sir, what now? Shall we ride boldly forth to adventures new?
I never took you for a romantic soul. But, as it happens, a romantic soul is just what I need by my side right now.
What, here? Now? Aren't we leaving?
Ah, that's just the thing. Here we are, about to ride off into the unknown. Well, who knows what fate has in store for us? What if we should fall as heroes on the battlefield? How could I depart this world with a quiet heart, never having known true love?
I'm a little worried about you, sir. Aren't you getting overheated inside that armor?
Look, I can't just go off and get my head chopped off somewhere without first winning the heart of the girl I love. So are you going to help me or not?
Well, affairs of the heart are what I do best. I'll be glad to help you. So what do you want me to do?
You, Hal, shall be my messenger of love. You shall bear her a letter and a gift from a secret admirer.
Why me? It's not like you to be bashful, Sir Hans. You can just go and tell her,
Certainly not. Carolina is different to the others. She was educated in a convent and needs to be handled with kid gloves. Romanced. I must court her secretly. It's the latest fashion in France.
And who is this Carolina?
The fairest maid that ever walked the earth. Carolina. The butcher's daughter. You must have noticed a divine creature in the marketplace. Unless you're more interested in barnyard animals.
Carolina, I do know her. She's a pretty girl, all right, but, well, a little below your station.
Love knows no station but the heart. And you keep your peasant eyes off her. Your task is simple. All you have to do is get hold of a necklace fine enough to grace her lovely neck. I did have one that I inherited from my great-grandmother. Unfortunately, not anymore.
What happened to it?
I lost it playing dice at the inn. But you'll get it back for me. You're a smart lad. I'm sure you'll figure out a way. And I'll reward you handsomely.
Oh, all right then. Is there something else I should know about this necklace?
I lost it at dice in the Ledechko Tavern when I was there to see... Well, that's not important.
So, some dice player from Ledechko won your grandmother's valuable necklace. Haven't you learned anything from losing to Zdena, the bathhouse wench?
My great-grandmother's. And as it happens, I have learned a trick or two. But that fellow has the luck of the devil. No doubt he'll still be sitting there, swindling other folk out of their hard-earned groschen.
Oh, what's the use? All right, all right. I'll go to Ledechko, find this diabolical dice player and see what I can do. Though I'll probably lose my shirt to him.
Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Good luck then.
My God, what happened to you? You look like you've been assaulted.
Are you the one who played dice with Lord Capon?
Played and won, lad. Fine noble he may be, but he can no more throw dice than I can read Latin.
I can't disagree with you there. But look here, have you still got that piece of jewellery you want from him?
No, I don't. Some noble rode through here and we had a game or two. Only them dice kept falling his way. I was lucky to keep my boots. He's got the necklace now.
Did you know where this fellow was heading?
He was waiting for someone here. but when they didn't show up by midday, he rode on. He mentioned something about camping by the bridge over the Sasau River. That one before the charcoal burners camp. You might still catch him there with a bit of luck.
There aren't many fords along the river on the way to Sasau. Can you tell me anything else about him?
Fine gent he was, well dressed, on horseback. Had quite a lot to say. Seems he saw a bit of the world. And he had some interesting looking dice.
You said they fell well for him?
Aye, no wonder. Fine dice they was, made special, all shiny and whatnot.
That's all I need to know.
See you later.
You after something? I'm afraid my friend here won't tell you much.
Your friend? Oh, I'm very sorry. And, well, I don't want to be insensitive, but I was hoping to get something from him. My master's necklace, which he won at dice.
Your master? Who would that be?
Well, Sir Radzig Cobbler of Skalitz is my liege lord. I'm Henry, but just now I'm helping Sir Hans Capon with a private matter.
Those are weighty names in these parts. I'm Sir Anselm of Domkey, in the service of... well, that's not important. I'd like to give you... that is... I'd like to ask you for your help.
I'm listening. Tell me what you know.
I will. And I'm sure it will help you find that necklace. The thing is, this is all my fault. I got held up on the way to meet Alphonse. By the time I got here, I found him like this.
God have mercy on his soul.
Amen, lad. I was heartbroken and enraged by turns, tearing my hair and cursing. Alphonse was my good friend, and it pains me to know he was only here on account of me. I brought him into a certain business matter to negotiate with some people, and he agreed. And this is how it ended up. When I finally pulled myself together, I took a look around and found some tracks. I followed them to the camp of those very brigands that Alphonse was supposed to negotiate with.
Nah, you can't trust anyone these days. So how can I help?
You can pass yourself off as Alphonse. Get into the bandits' camp and find that fucking murderer. And when you do, you'll find what you're looking for.
That doesn't make any sense. If one of them killed Alphonse, he'll know I'm not him.
No. They never saw him before. So whoever killed him surely took him for some passing merchant.
Are you quite sure they don't know him?
Aye. He moved in altogether different circles, among decent people. That's the very reason I asked him for help. So I reckon the best thing is for you to introduce yourself as Alphonse, have a snoop around, and come back to me when you find out anything.
Now, wouldn't it be better if you did that yourself? After all, I know nothing about this Alphonse. They'd see through me.
I'd do it if I could, lad. Only they know me, and I'm not on the best of terms with them. They'd most likely kill me on sight. Then the two of us would be dead and those bastards would get away with it.
Well, I hope I can avoid the same fate. Is there anything else I should watch out for while passing myself off as Alphonse?
The main thing is to look and sound like a noble, not a peasant, a commoner. So dress the part. No rags or rusty iron.
And how am I supposed to recognise the killer?
Ask around. I don't reckon anyone will admit to stabbing him in his sleep, but you might pick up some clue. You could have a look around for that necklace. Now that I think of it, they stole other valuables from him too.
Silver is silver, though. I won't recognise anything. Didn't he have something unique? A signet ring or a chain or...
No, not that I can... Oh yes, he did. Dice. He had a set of dice made specially in Prague. It was his pride and joy. They were red and gold, bright and shiny. Not the kind of thing you'd overlook.
What can you tell me about Alphonse? So they don't catch me out if they start asking questions.
Indeed. A few details should suffice. He was from Slani, but lived in Prague the last few years. He advised people, very well too. He helped them to deal with problems, of all kinds.
Yeah, he sounds like a man of the world, but I've never even been to Prague. I'm not sure I can fool them.
You can always change the subject. He was an ardent dice player, God forgive him. And he spent some time in Moravia on the service of Prokop of Luxembourg. But that was ages ago.
What do you know about the brigands in that camp?
Actually, they're not just ordinary bandits. It's a robber baron and his band. Sir Erhard Baron Bielowitz. Some of his vassals and maybe some commoners. They came here in the hope they'd have a better chance of keeping their heads.
Why don't you ask some of the local lords for help? I'm sure the Sasau custodian would lend you a few men.
There's nothing I'd like to see more than the lot of them strung up. Only I have a task that conflicts with that. And as for the custodian, I'm pretty sure Sir Sebastian is in league with Erhard.
What was the purpose of Sir Alphonse's negotiations? I'll need to know that.
Look, Henry, you'd best avoid that subject if at all possible. Just find the murderer for me, get your necklace, and I'll take care of the rest.
It'll be a bit hard to avoid that, since it was supposed to be the entire purpose of his visit.
True. Well, Alphonse was supposed to talk Erhard into moving his robbing raids towards Benishov, especially holding up merchants' wagons heading for Prague. In return, he was to offer a reward of up to 12,000 groschen and safe haven in Pilgrims.
I see. So you work for someone in Pilgrims?
No, neither Pilgrims nor Benishov, nor Vlachim for that matter. It's a bit complicated. Damn politics.
My word, the whole thing sounds like quite a twisted affair.
So are you going to help me?
I'll help you. I'll have to go there to look for the necklace anyway, and this seems as good a way as any.
Thanks 1,000-fold. And for the love of God, don't get caught. I'd never forgive myself if another man lost his life on my account. If it starts to look risky, take to your heels.
I'll bear that in mind. There's something else I'd like. I've no more questions. Someone was searching for something here. Were they out to rob him of everything he had, or something in particular? Looks like he died without a struggle, maybe killed in his sleep. They took everything he had, money, jewellery, even his boots. Could it be someone was trying to get rid of something here?
Yeah.
Would I be right in assuming this is the encampment of Sir Erhard, Baron Belevets?
And you'd be who then?
I am Sir Alphonse, and I'm here to parley with Sir Erhard of Belevets.
No offence, sir, but you don't look much like no lord to me.
I am travelling in disguise. That is, incognito. No one must know where I am bound, or from whence. Where?
All the way from Prague, eh?
Prague, yes, quite. But I travelled via Guren, thinking it the less hazardous route, comparatively.
Oh, aye. The roads ain't safe at all these days. There's all sorts of rabble waiting to rob unwary folk and even kill them.
Indeed, indeed, I concur. One must be wary, well, cautious, even, when travelling.
Right then. But you'll have to wait a while. Sir Erhard is busy at the moment.
No matter, I shall just,
But it's easy to pass the time here. There's always a dice game going on with nice things being wagered. I had my eye on a fine pair of gauntlets and some old piece of jewellery.
Jewellery, you say?
That's right. Just go and see old Blaha, the fella sitting at that table there. He can read, write, and do sums as good as any scribe, and other things too. He keeps things in shape here a bit.
Thank you. I may well do that.
What a shitty day. I need a good scrap to cheer me up.
Can I ask you something?
Ask away.
You're Mladotta.
I am. Why'd you ask?
Just curious. This is quite an interesting retreat you men have here.
You could put it that way. I ain't been here long, though. I helped them out of a tight spot and they took me with them.
What a shitty day. I need a good scrap to cheer me up.
Is that right? How did that happen?
Well, I was lying in wait for this wagoner, see? Because he'd been mouthing off about me, so I figured I'd take all he had for compensation. Anyway, I'm hiding there in the bushes and I hear this wagon coming, so I jumped out to ambush him. Only it wasn't that wagoner, but some merchant. As soon as he saw me with my weapon drawn, he started screaming bloody murder. And next thing, his armed escort comes charging up and I was the one ambushed. The injustice of it.
Vexing indeed.
Aye. Anyway, they caught me and took me with them. They figured I was Sir Erhardt's spy, and they wanted me to lead them to him. Of course, I told them I didn't know what the fuck they were on about. So, while they were threatening to break me on the wheel, string me up and what have you, along comes the Baron with his merry band, and they lay into the soldiers and send them running for the hills. And ever since then, I've been riding with them.
That is quite an entertaining anecdote.
Ain't it just? If it hadn't been for me, the fellas would have run straight into a trap and it'd all be up with them. So, it's on account of me they're still alive.
And how are things here? Do you get away much?
We ain't allowed to leave. So I've been here the whole time. I don't mind though. There's always something to pass the time. And we've got that wench.
That's all.
Fuck! What a sneaky bastard.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
What can I tell you? I can read and write a bit, and I help Sir Erhardt out when he needs it. Although, I have to say, since the Baron took to robbing, there's not much work for me anymore.
And what did he do before that?
What every landed noble does. He still had some estates and income from them, only he lost it all some years ago on account of debts. So he had to find some other livelihood.
How did he find this?
That was my doing. I heard from a scribe about some ownership feud that ended up badly for both sides. Since then, it's been left neglected.
Oh, that's a shame. No doubt it was once a fine place.
Aye, the Vega is a fortune, eh? Times are harsh and what have you. It's always been that way and always will. I wonder how many burned out, abandoned ruins will be left when Sigismund withdraws. How many folk will have no homes to return to? And how many won't be returning ever? But that's our lot in this vale of tears. There'll be no peace and quiet till the next life.
Amen to that. I was told I could have a game or two here until Sir Erhardt has time to see me.
Aye, he's got his hands full at the moment. You must be Sir Alphonse, eh? I'm Blaha, Sir Erhardt's servant. I take care of things here a bit.
Including dice? It has come to my attention that there are interesting things being wagered.
True enough, we've got a fine pair of plate gauntlets, 2 necklaces, one of them's a lovely piece, a good sharp sword, and some other things, I don't remember what. The custom here is if you want to play, you've got to wager something to join.
Far be it from me to disrespect established... What do you say?
Well now... Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
You want to play right away?
Why wait?
No beating around the bush. You'll play against Noggin now. He's not the brightest. He ain't a good loser.
Yeah, I'm gonna get soaked. What else is there to do here? So hungry, I can eat my toast.
so hungry I could eat my boots.
Rivers of blood, and the bloody blood.
I just want to eat and sleep. And fuck.
What a shitty day. Good scratch, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Take the women, burn the village, drink, annihilate and pillage. Burning, wrecking, making strife, how sweet it is, a robber's life. Yeah, I'm getting soaked. What else is there to do here?
You're a fucking cheat. Sir, I challenge you to a duel.
I won't take any accusations from you. I accept.
Fuck it.
Toss you in.
You're not getting off scot-free.
I agree.
Can I ask you something?
Ask away.
Tell me something.
Why do you want to know? You want to spread the word about what a...
Huh?
You know what they say. Curiosity killed the cat. But if you must know, they call me Berta.
Berta?
Ah, you heard of me, have you? The scourge of Vlashim. No man who felt the edge of my axe lived to tell the tale.
Why are you hiding out?
I wouldn't call it hiding. We're just having a bit of a rest.
From what?
Things were getting a bit too hot for us. Nobody bothers us here. Just as long as we don't show our faces in Sasau.
Don't you leave the...
What are you trying to say?
I'm gonna get
That we're shitting ourselves here?
what else is there to do here?
No.
We come across hunters now and then, or pilgrims on the road. There are charcoal burners nearby. Sometimes they pass the time of day with us.
I gotta piss.
I'm so tired.
I want to play dice.
They fell your way, lass. You'll play Berta. He's a man.
Fucking weather, fucking tent, fucking camp. I've had enough of this shit. I'm so hungry I can eat my boots. So tired. I got a filthy stain everywhere. Should have stayed home.
Oh, fucking sick head. Can't drink no more today.
Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking, whores and boozing. Take the women, burn the village. Annihilate and pillage. Burning, wrecking, painting, strife. How sweet it is, a robber's life. So, well, rivers of blood and a bloody flood. No one to rob him. Fucking boy. I'm so hungry.
I'm so hungry, I could eat my boots.
Fucking sick, man. Can't drink no more.
Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking hard.
I'm so hungry I can eat my boots. Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking, whores and boozing. Take the women, burn the village. Drink, annihilate and pillage. Burning, wrecking, painting, strife. How sweet it is, a robber's life. I've got a pick.
Camp life sure ain't easy. Look.
I've got a pick. No one to rob me. Fucking boy.
Camp life sure ain't easy. Look.
Yeah, I'm gonna get what else? So hungry. Rivers of blood, and of bloody blood.
Camp life sure ain't easy. Look.
So, what else is
You can go and see your Sir Erhart.
I want to play dice. Who will be my opponent?
They fell your way last time, and no mistake. You'll play against Maladota. He's a bit... well... you'll see for yourself.
Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking more. Rivers of blood and of blood.
I'm so hungry, I could eat my boots. Filth and stink everywhere. Should have stayed home.
I'm gonna get sucked. What else is there to do? Filth, stink everywhere. Should have stayed home. So hungry I can eat my food. Yeah, I'm gonna get sucked. What else is there to do?
Rivers of blood and a bloody flood.
Filth and stink everywhere. Should have stayed home. Yeah, I'm gonna be so. What else is there? Fucking sick head. I'll try to turn one of them. Well, I was a sentry at Rattay, but they paid chicken feed, so I joined up with this lot instead.
You? Essentials? You haven't
I want to play dice. Who will be my opponent?
They fell your way last time, and no mistake. Then there's Pekuna. He's a local fellow who brings stuff for us. He put up a nice necklace as his wager.
Scruff and stink everywhere. Should have stayed home. Rivers of blood and a bloody flood.
Killing, fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking whores and boozing. Take the women from the village, drink the night.
Some life sure ain't easy. Fuck.
Wrecking, naked sight. House is a rubber fight.
Oh, fucking sick head.
Have you got any special rules?
Nothing out of the ordinary. Not that I need to
Quite.
Well, that also means a man might take offence at some...
Ah, very well. How did I do? Have I won?
Well now, Sir Alphonse, you took 'em all by storm. Here's the key to the prize.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah, I'm gonna get soaked. What else is there to do here?
I'd like to ask you something else.
Ask away.
You're Mladoth?
I am.
Just curious. This is quite an interesting...
You could put it that way,
You must have...
if you like.
That's all. Can I have a word?
What do you want?
What's your story?
I ain't, true enough. I'm a local. I don't go raiding with them. When they're here,
And what do you do when they're not here?
whatever's needed. But being the go-between for them that set up the ambushes pays well. And you don't have to risk your neck for it.
Weather, fucking tents.
Can you tell me?
This place? It's been here as long as I can remember. Anyway, one time I had to lie low for a bit, so I came here and ran into these gentlemen, who pay good coin when you bring them some wine and a bit of grub.
Why did you have to disappear?
Nothing terrible. Just that I was courting this one girl, only her old man and her brothers didn't take to me. Besides which, she was promised to some rich merchant. Once they had her married off, they forgot about me, though.
I'll leave you to it. Another question.
What do you want?
I'll leave you to it. I'd like to ask...
Ask away.
Can I ask?
I have nothing to do.
Rivers of blood and a bloody flood.
What's going on here anyway?
Haven't you ever been in the camp of a merry band of robbers?
Never quite this merry, to tell the truth.
They've got their loot, and now they want some fun. Booze, dice, and women. I'm the only girl here. They're more interested in dice, anyway. And boozing. And they're no fun at all.
Well, they seem very fond of their dice, all right.
Aye. They always play the same way. Every player bets his most valuable piece of loot. And the winner takes all. It ends in a fight most times. Although it's a long time since anyone got killed over it.
I'd better watch my step then.
You do that, handsome. It'd be a shame to spoil that pretty face. Mother of God.
Hey! I need a good scrap to cheer me up.
The blessing of our Lord Jesus Christ upon you, Baron Belevets. I'm honoured to make your acquaintance.
The pleasure is mine, sir. We haven't had any interesting visitors here for a long time, and I'm keen to hear what news you bring. And then there's the matter of our trade.
Indeed, we certainly have much to discuss. Sir.
Good. And how was your journey, Sir Alphonse?
Long and somewhat fatiguing, truth be told.
Ah, would you rather put off our talks until later?
No. I shall be glad to deal with our...
Very well. If you wish to skip the pleasantries, let's get down to business. From what I've heard, you have some proposal for me that would involve departing from Vlashim?
Yes, essentially. We need to divert attention elsewhere. Closer to Prague.
Prague? But that's too far. And I don't know a single crossroads or hideout in those parts.
I beg your pardon, a slip of the tongue. I meant to say... to pilgrims.
Yes, why not? It's a reasonable journey and a rich town. And who are we to devote our attention to?
Merchant wagons.
Of course. How better to put the fear of God in the townsmen than to relieve them of their silver? Do you want us to conduct our business on any particular road?
The road to Vlashim.
That's what we've been doing the whole time. You can pay me for it right away. And what's in it for us? If terrorizing folk is what you want, there might not be much profit in it.
I can offer up to 24,000 groschen.
My word! That's a very generous amount. I'd be mad to refuse it. And that's everything?
I can also offer you a safe hideout, if you should have need of it.
That's always useful to have somewhere to lie low. Where is it?
In Pilgrims. A nice house you can use for a month or two.
It's not that far, but I like the sound of it. That's all acceptable. I agree then. Now we've settled our business, you can go and rest. We'll talk later when you feel up to it.
Thank you, Sir Erhard.
Mother of God, he's back again.
You get any extra beef?
Sorry, I traded them for booze yesterday. You'll get new ones soon enough.
I'll take them off the first idiot that crosses our path.
With your luck, it's going to be a beggar monk with no shoes at all.
Don't even say that. Seriously, I'd sooner go barefoot than have to fight in these turd skins.
I'd like to ask you...
Ask away.
I'll never get used to it. Try washing yourself once in a while. You wash yourself. My granddad's brother drowned bathing in a pond. I'm not taking the risk. I only wash when it's raining. You must be chasing women away with a stick. Bet they can smell a true man.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I have good news for you, Sir Anselm. I know who killed your friend. Who was it? It was Mladotta, one of the brigands.
How did you find out?
From the dice.
All right. I'll take care of it from here. And I owe you for helping me. Here, Henry, take this. I'm sorry I don't have more on me. But if you're ever in Prague, come and look me up, and I'll see you're well taken care of.
It's been a pleasure, Sir Anselm. Godspeed.
Is that some new kind of game?
God be with you, lad. What can I do for you?
I've got that necklace.
Excellent news! I'm not going to ask you how you did it. Here's a reward for you. Now you can carry on with your next task. I want you to sneak the jewellery into Carolina's trunk along with this letter.
Can't I just hand them to her?
You cannot! Under no circumstances must she find out who sent them. Otherwise the whole secret admirer ploy is fucked. Oh, and by the way, Henry, watch out for the butcher. He keeps a very close eye on his daughter, and if he catches you sniffing around, well, may all the saints preserve you. Once you've delivered the things, wait a day, and then come back and see me.
See you later.
Here, just as you ordered.
Yeah.
Hey! You've no business here. What? Clear off, or you'll be sorry.
What the hell was that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ow!
Yeah.
God bless you. What troubles you?
I delivered the things as you asked.
I already know. My spies told me everything. She was wearing the necklace this morning, as I asked in the letter.
So you'll go to the rendezvous with her?
Certainly not. I'm not going to pounce on her like a bull in rutting season. Her feelings must be allowed to mature gradually. Meanwhile, you'll get a potion for me.
I thought you didn't believe in witches' brews.
This is no witch's brew. It's an absolutely tried and tested elixir called Musk of Infinite Allure. There's a fellow in Sasau who sells it, and he guarantees its success.
Musk of Infinite Allure? Sounds irresistible. All right, I'll try and get it for you.
I'm sure I can rely on you. Here's some coin for your costs. God be with you.
breastplate. Then buy this powder made of a unicorn's horn.
Well, well, who have we here?
Ah, the prodigal son returns. I knew you'd come back to me one day.
Let me guess, you saw it in a dream?
I knew you were going to say that.
But I had a divine revelation. That next time I won't be around to pull you out of the shit.
Oh, well, I am sorry. But these things are sent to try our fortitude in the face of adversity.
I'd like to try your fortitude. Would you teach me more?
Certainly.
I want to achieve.
All right.
Isn't that quite... Agree?
That's not enough. Agreed. God be with...
I've heard you know of some irresistibility potion or whatever it is.
Ah, naturally. Musk of infinite allure. An age-old recipe, maybe even older. Tested by Moses himself.
Moses?
How do you think he managed to get his people to follow him through the desert for 40 years? It's extremely potent.
Yeah, so it would seem. How much do you want for it?
Who do you take me for? The wisdom of the ancients isn't something that's bought and sold in the marketplace. Did Jesus charge for his miracles? But since you ask, how about this much?
That's not much.
Really? All right, double then.
What? Why? You... why do I even bother?
If you like, I can mix the elixir for you in exchange for a small favor.
Oh, not again.
Now, is that any tone to use with your master? For shame.
Apologies, Master. I was carried away by my thirst for knowledge.
I understand your impatience, but the way to wisdom is narrow and arduous.
And leads out the window. So what is it you want from me now?
Ah, my dear apprentice, everything's gone to the devil. I'm living from hand to mouth, sleeping on straw, and the local peasants won't buy from me. They say they don't trust me, as if I was some kind of charlatan. Can you believe it? Does this look to you like the face of a swindler? I'm an honest trader in sacred goods, whose only concern is the welfare of troubled souls.
A regular Good Samaritan.
And any time now the slanderous gossip will spread here from Sassau. I should leave before things get worse. But I can't go anywhere until I've made a bit of coin. So what's needed is to give the locals a bit of encouragement, to open their hearts and purses.
I'm not going to go around beating people for you.
What do you take me for? I wouldn't hurt a fly. Violence is for the dull-witted. We must gently demonstrate to them the necessity of buying my remedies. For example, to ward off a revenant.
Revenant? What revenant?
The dead return from the grave, a corpse that the soul is unable to depart from, which wanders among the living, filled with rage at its wretched fate.
Yeah, I saw something like that once. But it was just some drunk going home from the tavern after losing all his money at dice.
Don't make light of such things. Now tell me, do you know how to deal with a revenant?
Sprinkling poppy seeds on the grave?
That works for mares, but it would probably only provoke a revenant. You are my trained apprentice. But the ignorant villager is entirely at a loss how to deal with such dark forces. It is our sacred duty to prepare them for such threats.
And how do you propose to do that?
Well, they're all doubting Thomases. They need proof. We'll need a grave, an empty grave that we can use. There's one along the way to Sasau, but it's got one minor shortcoming.
What's that?
Well, it's not entirely empty.
Not entirely? What does that mean?
You have to dig it up first.
Why this particular grave?
The locals don't like to talk about it, so it's surely got some sinister past behind it. And in places like that, revenants sprout up like mushrooms after rain.
Well, if that's how it is, we could open old wounds. That could easily set people against us. Again.
Then it would be best if no one could connect us to it, wouldn't it?
I'll need a spade then.
Yes, dig it up and remove the remains, leaving no trace.
And what am I to do with the remains?
Keep them. Human remains are always handy to have around.
Great. And how do we spread the word of this revenant?
There's a gossip in every village. Here, too, a woman who'll spread news quicker than a dozen messengers on the fastest steeds.
And what am I to tell this gossip?
All you have to do is casually mention the empty grave, and before evening, I'll wager the whole village will know about it.
Where does this woman live?
The last house on the left, on the road to Sasau. She was the first person I met here, and by the time I reached the village green, I already had a mob looking suspiciously at me. The rumor-mongering fishwife.
And that's all?
Not quite. You should ask her who was buried there. So we've got a story to work with.
So, dig up the grave, talk to the gossip.
And the remains. Don't forget to remove them. Otherwise, no one will believe in the Revenant.
I might have known any task for Capon would turn into some insane escapade. Grave robbing. Jesus.
God be with you. Come closer, my friends.
Yeah.
Ah.
God be with you, good wife. Has something happened here?
Heavens no. It's quiet here, unlike some other places.
And what about that empty grave?
What empty grave would that be now?
The one beyond the village, alongside the road to Sasau. Just by the river, on the Pine Headland.
How would you know it's empty? Unless it was dug up.
Oh, it's dug up, all right. Freshly. And empty. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Lord in heaven, what in the name of...
How come it's not in hallowed ground, anyway? Only unrepentant sinners are buried like that. Usually.
I don't like to say. It's an old wound that's best forgotten.
Whose grave is it?
Well, once a long time ago there was a young charcoal burner living here with his wife. There was always a lot of charcoal burners here, but this fellow worked alone. That's not an easy job for one man.
Well, no one wanted to work with him, or what?
Oh, he was a hard-headed fellow who always wanted to take care of his family himself.
Well, I can understand that. It's always better to work for yourself than break your back for someone else.
His wife was expecting, though no one knew it yet. And he wasn't doing well at all. Soon enough, they had nothing to eat. And so he took to thieving.
Well, thieving is wrong.
Aye, but when there's a child on the way and your wife hasn't the strength to get out of bed for the hunger, well, you ought to think differently.
And did he get caught?
Well, at first it was just a few eggs going missing from people's hen coops. But then it was anything that wasn't nailed down. And in the end, they caught him.
And I suppose he was harshly punished for it.
Even then, he didn't let on why he was doing it. They whipped the skin off his back and banished him from Ledetchko.
So justice was done then?
It wasn't enough for some folk. When the butcher found out he'd never get any compensation, he wanted them to chop off the charcoal burner's hands. If the bailiff hadn't talked sense into him, he'd have done it himself with his cleaver.
Well, he got off lightly enough then.
And in the end, he got what was coming to him, and more.
The butcher caught up with him?
No, no. It was the mills of God turning slowly but surely. His wife bled to death in childbirth, and the child died with her.
God have mercy on their souls.
Amen.
Nothing could have been done to save them.
There was no one there. He had no one who would care for his wife. They say on that day, he parted ways with God forever. And he turned his back on the village too. I reckon he never forgave himself. Nor us, either.
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. But how did he end up?
Don't ask me that, lad. I beg you.
Come now, good wife. You can't leave the story unfinished.
I said no. Will you let it lie?
At the miraculous items on offer today, for a fraction of their true value.
I know who was buried in that grave. A young charcoal burner.
So begins the tragic tale of the young charcoal burner who became entangled with the devil himself.
Oh, don't start. What devil? I'm trying to tell you. Ugh. He was from Ledetchko. He was trying to eke out a living for himself and his wife, but he couldn't manage. When she fell pregnant, he took to stealing.
Pride drove him from the straight and narrow path, and soon he sold his soul to the devil to fill his stomach.
They caught him and punished him, but some of the people he'd robbed didn't think it was enough. Then when his wife died in childbirth, and the child too, he blamed everyone for it. Even God, apparently.
But when the time came to pay his debt to hell, the devil had no use for his soul, and took his wife and child instead. The charcoal burner cursed God who struck him down in righteous vengeance. But the dead man's soul never left his body. He came back as a revenant to vent his rage at God and men and take vengeance on the living.
Jesus, did you listen to what I said at all?
Sorry, did you say something?
Oh, never mind. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, the question is, what would the revenant do to get revenge on the villagers? Well, apprentice?
He cursed God. That's very serious.
What is it that most brings God to mind?
They don't have a church there. But everyone will have a rosary. I can't think of anything else.
That's it! If folks start losing their rosaries, they'll have sleepless nights over it.
You want me to steal rosaries? But that's...
Or just exchange them.
For what?
For nothing.
Great. The gossip mentioned the butcher. It seems he was infuriated that the charcoal burner's punishment was too lenient.
And the revenant spoiled their meat with his malign touch.
How's that?
Spoiled meat is a classic example of a revenant's power.
I thought it was the work of bad butchers.
That too, sometimes.
So, I should switch the good meat for bad at the butcher's. What about the butcher woman?
What about her?
Her conscience was troubled on account of her man, and she couldn't sleep. But I helped her, so she's found some peace.
So, no problem then.
What? I'm supposed to scare the wits out of her and start all over again?
All right, if you can find some other solution, you don't have to switch the meat. But I wouldn't worry about her. But make sure it's the same kind of meat. Not even a revenant will turn a cow into a chicken.
He was stealing food from people, right? So, supposing he started again?
We should steal from people? Disgraceful. Have you no shame?
Maybe just a few eggs from hen coops, like the gossip mentioned.
Well, that wouldn't be too serious a sin. Will they put it down to the revenant, though?
They would, if I put some charcoal there instead.
And their nourishment he turned into ash.
What about his wife and child? No doubt he'd want to avenge their death.
Well, how did they die?
In childbirth.
And when his love turned to rage, the water turned to blood. Nothing too original. But it's tried and tested. If you do it at the baths, everyone will hear of it.
How am I supposed to do that? It might be a bit suspicious if I'm seen walking around with a pail of blood.
No problem. There's a certain potion that will do the trick easily. So, switch eggs for charcoal, switch the meat, color the water in the baths, and switch the rosaries. That ought to do it. I hope so. Of course, if you come up with anything else, don't let me hold you back. Talking to people might give you ideas. Traders, the bailiff.
But what if someone sees me in the act?
They mustn't. Otherwise, it'll end up like Sasau all over again. Don't draw attention to yourself, or they'll put two and two together.
Sure. I'll keep my head down. And how will I know if I've succeeded? I doubt it'll be announced on the market square.
I'll be the first to know. They'll come running to me for a remedy, like hens at feeding time. Off you go and raise hell.
But whatever he did, don't you think he deserves some peace?
Dear Henry, after all the poor wretch went through, I'd say he's beyond any peace.
Well, he certainly won't have any as long as I'm carrying his bones around with me.
Ah, but you know who those remains could help.
Help? Who? How?
Me, of course. And I'd pay you a nice price for a revenant's bones.
But there is no revenant.
Not yet. What do you say?
Maybe I should bury him somewhere else.
What are you saying? That would be such a waste. Anyway, if someone saw you, the whole game would be up.
Well, supposing I do it later, when the fuss has died down.
All right, if you must. But I don't know what you hope to get out of it.
At least the poor wretch will have peace at last.
Maybe. As long as you bury him in hallowed ground. Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
Like in Ratai, maybe?
Well, that's probably the nearest. That gossip-mongering crone would know.
True, I could ask her.
If you must. But for heaven's sake, don't even hint to her what you're up to. Good luck, then.
What's the recipe for that potion you were...
You mean for coloring the water?
Well...
Pay close attention now.
I'm all ears.
How love turned to bloodshed. Once there was a knight who, though upright and noble-looking, had a prickly, unapproachable appearance. He fell in love with a fragile young maid, whom he saw with her sisters in a field, all wearing bright red wimples. But he was afraid his prickly exterior would frighten her. So he asked the advice of another knight, a pious and learned crusader, who carried the name of the patron saint of his order with pride. The pious knight told him he would arrange a rendezvous with the maid. All three would drink wine together by the river, and he would help his friend to get acquainted with her. This they did, but the maid fell in love instead with the pious knight. The stern knight was enraged and challenged his rival to a duel. The two fought long and fiercely, but they were equally matched. And so, in the end, they both fell mortally wounded, anguished at the tragedy her beauty had caused. The young maid took a dagger from one of the knights and plunged it into her own heart. Their bodies lay together on the ground, and the blood flowed from them into the river, turning the waters crimson.
I thought you were going to tell me the recipe, not some fable.
It is the recipe. I mean, the recipe is concealed in the story.
What on earth for?
So I don't forget it.
All right. So what does it mean?
I can't remember.
Great. So if you don't know, who does?
You'll figure it out, my loyal apprentice. I remember there are 3 plants in the story, but that's about all. But I know it was a simple recipe. It should be enough to grind the ingredients and brew them together for one turn. So, all you have to do is work out what the ingredients are from the story.
Sure. Why make things simple if you can complicate them?
Good luck, then.
hell with you.
You showed him. Thank you.
Is someone
That
there?
thieving magpie. You can't trust anyone these days. And just so you know, I'm no pinch purse. Here's a small reward.
Thanks.
God's blessing.
Good wife.
Yes, lad. What can I do for you?
You know, I can't stop thinking about what happened to that poor wretch.
Have you no consideration for a poor old woman? I told you I don't want to talk about it.
It might relieve you to talk to someone.
Relieve me from what?
Well, guilt.
Guilt? Why should I feel guilty?
Well, clearly something weighs heavy on your soul, just like the other villagers. The older ones. And I'd say it's connected to that empty grave. Well, that wretch returns as a revenant, and no one does anything. It's not just fear, but more like everyone is expecting some punishment that was bound to come one day.
Oh, you might be right. Maybe it would give me some peace in my old age to finally tell the whole story. Several people from the village went to have it out with Lev, but he grabbed an axe and drove them off. He swore if anyone came near him, he'd burn their house down. Then he buried his wife and child in the meadows beyond Ledetchko. I saw him carving 3 statues there.
Lev, you say his name was? Oh. What kind of statues?
There's 3 roughly carved beams there, each with a human face, except the smallest, which has no face at all.
For the stillborn child, I suppose. What happened then?
Nothing. He went back to his work, but never spoke to the villagers again. He'd even go all the way to Ratte for food, rather than talk to anyone here.
So he died alone in the end?
Actually, it was the villagers. It was us that killed him.
What? Just on account of his stealing?
No. Not long after, fires started springing up in the village. And when the first house burned down, the folk were very angry.
And of course suspicion fell on Lev.
Everyone was dead certain it was him. They all remembered his words. Do you know how arsonists are punished, lad?
No, I don't.
By burning on the pyre. But no one wanted to waste time with the law. We just went to his house at night, smashed in the door and windows, and threw lighting torches inside. And that was the end of him. But the fires didn't stop.
So he was innocent?
He was.
Well, I won't condemn you for it. It's for God to judge, but... may he forgive you for it.
Thanks, lad. I pray every day for forgiveness, and it's a weight off my shoulders to tell someone. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Chickens. That should be no problem.
God be with you.
See you later.
I'd like to discuss... Since it's...
I'd almost...
I'll go for that. Lamb. And I'll need lots of it if I'm to switch it all. Just lamb now.
Hang on, this is venison. From roe deer. No wonder it's under lock and key.
God be with you.
Yeah.
God save you.
Hey!
Take care.
Greetings. God be with you.
Of every kind. God be with. Good luck.
Stop right there. I have to search you. Be quick about it.
What's going on?
Orders of his...
For God's sake, don't bother me.
Yeah, all right.
Come right up. No need to be shy.
Manhood been riddled. Horn.
What in the... What's that? Jesus! What's that?
You want something from
God.
me, do you?
gentlemen, good men and good wives, come close. Protective amulet, love, potions, and talismans to give you the luck.
Look out!
an ale.
Judy.
God be with you. See you later.
As you wish.
Good God, you look...
What's happening around?
Nothing much, thank God. Peace and quiet is a... Take care.
Hates mustard, and bacon is too common for him.
Oh, I see. That's a nuisance.
Can you think of anything I can do with it?
Look, it's all about the seasoning. Just roast it with a bit of lard, the same as usual, but add some rosemary and juniper.
Rosemary?
The best thing for hair. I heard it from a travelling merchant. He had it in Prague, and he said it was delicious.
All right, so I'll try it. And if he doesn't like it, I'll lock him in the hen coop so he'll have a proper appetite next time. That'll ruffle his feathers for him.
Maybe you should have done that a long time ago.
You're right there. Hey!
I like a beer.
God, what happened to you? You look like you've been...
You look a bit worried, Bailiff.
How can I not be? What with the whole village complaining about ghosts?
Ghosts?
An empty grave that they say a revenant crawled out of. They talk of nothing else.
You don't think there's any truth to it?
No, it's nothing but old wives' tales.
But how come the grave is empty?
You don't need any magic to dig up a grave. A spade will do.
But why would anyone do that? Surely no God-fearing Christian would dig up the grave of some poor soul who hasn't even got the piece of hallowed ground to rest in.
A God-fearing Christian? No.
So you suspect someone?
Could be. There's been a band of good-for-nothing itinerants hanging around recently. They weren't making any trouble, though, so I let them be. But this is going too far.
How do you know it was them?
Who else would it be?
What about the Revenant?
Oh, don't you start. That Revenant of yours is nothing but idle hands doing the devil's work. I'd send them packing myself if I had the time and the men.
Supposing I help you get rid of them.
You look like you know how to handle yourself.
You bet I can. It wouldn't be wise to fool with me.
I don't doubt it, but I don't want any bloodshed in my parish. There's enough trouble already.
Don't worry, Master Bailiff. I'll be the very soul of discretion.
Then I'll gladly accept your help. Is there anything you need to know?
Who are these?
Just some itinerants who'd rather roam the roads than do an honest day's work. They're not cutthroats, though, just petty thieves and beggars.
What are they doing here?
Damned if I know, or where they came from. Except for one fella who's from Ledechko. But the rest are from God knows where.
Are they armed?
One bear for days.
As much as any thief. Who isn't these days?
Where can I find them?
Last I heard, they were a bit away from the village, across the river by the old mine.
That's all I need to know. I'll get going.
Good luck. Good luck, then.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you want, boy?
The bailiff sent me after you.
Oh, yeah? I'm shitting myself.
Well, you better take a good look at me and think again.
Ah, all right. What does the bailiff want from us?
I'm supposed to get you to leave.
What's the problem, all of a sudden?
Someone hereabouts dug up a grave, and the bailiff reckons you lot are mixed up in it.
Sure, might as well blame us for everything. Why not? I suppose we burned down skullets too.
Don't play the innocent lamb with me. You know what I think?
No, and I don't much care.
Well, maybe you ought to.
Oh, yeah? Why?
Because I can offer you a job.
Doing what? Don't expect us to break our backs for a few groschen.
Perish the thought. No, it's something more suited to your, talents. I need someone to frighten people a little.
Frighten who?
The Ledechko villagers.
Haha! Them lot are already shitting themselves on account of that revenant.
Aye, but not quite enough to suit me.
And how do you want us to do it?
A bit of fire would be good, since the dead man was a charcoal burner. Some flames flickering in the night, that would scare them.
Aye, all the more so since the fellow was accused of arson.
How do you know that?
One of us is from Ledechko. He was only a youngster when it all happened, but he remembers the fires all right.
I see. Well, that should scare them out of their wits then.
You bet it will. So what's in it for us?
I'll put in a good word for you with the bailiff, and he'll leave you be.
What would you tell him?
Well, I could tell him I saw someone else near the grave. Humans, maybe?
Well, that would help, I suppose. All right, deal.
Just make sure no one sees you.
Don't worry. They always turn us a blind eye anyway. There's someone there.
Yeah.
beer for me. Wine squeezed from grapes, cultivated from a rose bush. Good health to you.
So, how am I doing so far?
Good work, Henry. The whole village is shaking in its boots. Soon people won't step outside the door without saying 3 Hail Marys.
Ugh, I'm glad to hear it. I'm beginning to feel haunted myself.
No one in Ledechko would eat a single egg, even if they had any, because all the hens are hexed.
Well, at least they've got fuel for their fires.
The baths are closed. No one will tell you why, but everyone is clearly frightened. Some folk saw flames of hellfire flickering around the village at night. Great! Half the village is without rosaries. Someone even wanted to buy one from me.
And did you sell it?
I don't trade in such banal goods. But I sold him a cat's paw.
I didn't know a cat's paw was good for warding off revenants.
Henry, all the goods I have are good for warding off revenants.
So, the job is done, eh?
Not qu-
But you just said the whole village is shaking with fear.
The whole village, but for one individual.
Well, surely that doesn't matter.
That's what I thought too. Only this fellow is giving everyone the benefit of his wisdom. He needs shaking up before he undoes your good work.
But if he's not been scared yet, what more can I do to frighten him?
Well, when he's not hanging around here ruining my trade, he's in the tavern boasting that he'd happily sleep by that empty grave to prove there's no revenant.
Yeah, I bet he would.
Exactly. He just needs a little persuasion. And once he's there, make it the most terrifying night of his life.
Well, what are we waiting for then?
It's best to be well prepared. You ought to find out something about him, so there's no surprises.
The gossip woman?
Naturally. And Henry, before we get to that grave, you can still try and come up with more ways to frighten the villagers. The more terrified they are, the more groschen there'll be in it for me. For us, that is. God be with you.
God save you.
Here I am, bailiff.
So, how did it go?
I talked to those itinerants, and I'm sure they're not mixed up in it.
How can you be so sure?
Well, those lazy beggars. Digging up a grave is too much like work for them.
You could be right. Well, that hasn't helped much, then. I still have an empty grave and no explanation for it.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Miraculous ointments and remarkable remedies.
Wenceslas's cousin.
Good God.
Have you got a bed?
Certainly. For how long?
Pour me one.
How about...
No problem.
Here you are.
You'll like it. See you later.
of the angels.
Good health to you.
Good wife.
You're still here, lad? I thought you'd have fled by now.
Fled? Why on earth would I do that?
Because there's a revenant on the prowl. The whole village is talking about it, and everyone is terrified.
Ah, that. But I heard there's one brave lad who's not afraid.
You mean Felix?
Well, I don't know what his name is, but he's always arguing in the tavern that there's no revenant.
That's him. The fool doesn't believe what's going on under his own nose. He hasn't the sense he was born with.
He even said he'd spend the night at the graveside, just to prove there's no revenant.
Aye, all talk and no action.
Is he brave or just stupid? Surely he's afraid of something.
I couldn't tell you. But if he's to be believed, he doesn't fear the devil himself.
And do you believe him?
Well, it's true he never seems bothered by anything. But then he's always with that other pair.
What pair?
2 mates of his.
But he was alone in the tavern.
Aye, they're not locals, but outside the village, wherever he goes, they go with him.
Who are these 2 fellas?
They're not bad lads, but they're no heroes, that's for sure.
How's that?
Them 2 have their fears, but then who doesn't?
What are they afraid of?
The first one wouldn't even go into the woods alone, because he's afraid of wild animals.
Ah, is that so? I wonder why.
He got lost in the forest as a young lad, and he wasn't found till next morning. Shaking and pale as a ghost he was when they found him.
Poor lad. He must have been scared out of his wits.
That he was.
What about the other one?
He's afraid of fire.
Why?
His own father burned him, God forgive him. As a young lad, he was playing with fire and nearly set fire to the house. So his pa taught him a lesson he wouldn't forget.
Poor lad. That's a terrible way to teach a child.
My words, exactly.
Ah, it's been an interesting chat. Thanks, good wife.
Good luck, then.
Good afternoon.
Why aren't you selling any?
I don't have anything to...
Why don't you get some supplies then?
It'd only be a waste of time and money, as long as that revenant is wandering around.
Revenant?
Aye. There's one haunting these parts, and it's spoiling all the meat around.
My God, that's bad news. Especially for your trade.
The meat is the least of it, lad. An unholy thing like that can do all sorts of evil.
Ah, is that so?
God be with you.
Good day.
So?
I already told you, Henry. Everyone is scared out of their wits.
I know. I was just wondering if anything had changed.
Well, everyone is talking about how all the butcher's meat went off after being touched by the hand of evil.
What, does this look like the hand of evil to you? Good. The more frightened they are, the better. Maybe then you'll sell lots of remedies, and maybe you'll share some of the profits with your loyal apprentice.
Maybe.
This brave fella, Felix his name is, if we can get him to spend the night at the grave, he won't be alone. Wherever he goes, he always has 2 mates tagging along.
Like he's afraid to be alone.
Could be.
So, if we could get him there alone, it shouldn't be too hard to scare him.
Maybe, maybe not. He claims he's not afraid of anything.
That's easy to say. I'm not so sure. Only, we have to get rid of the other two. What do you know about them?
One of them is afraid of wild animals. Won't even go into the woods on his own.
I see. And the other one?
Well, he's afraid of fire, but I doubt an ordinary campfire would do the trick.
Well, we'll think of something. Anyway, you take care of the first one.
How, though?
Haven't you learned anything from me? Talk to a dog.
Of course. Why didn't I think of that? Any particular one, Master?
The most frightening one, of course.
And how am I supposed to recognize him? One looks the same as another.
By his bark, naturally. Can't you hear him? He'd scare the wits out of anyone.
That's a dog.
Either that or Satan in the guise of a beast.
All right. And what do I do with him?
Have a conversation with him and see if you can mimic his bark.
Yeah, great idea. People will think I'm barking mad.
See you later.
Come on then. Bark. What a beast you are. All right, let's see. Ruff. Ruff. Again. Boo. 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 That's still not quite it. Boo! 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 That's it. And now I'm officially the village idiot.
So, how...
I found that mutt. Although from the noises it made, you'd hardly guess it was a dog.
So you've learned to bark?
I have, Master.
So bark.
Bark? I'll give you bark.
Easy, easy. Down, boy.
But what if it's not enough?
Ah, ye of little faith. Besides, can you think of any other way?
If we want to have him there on his own, I could always knock the other two out.
And what if he finds them unconscious?
I can always haul them off somewhere he won't find them.
Just make sure you don't botch it, Henry. It could easily turn very sour.
Don't worry. But what about the other fella?
Ah, yes, apprentice. You have the good fortune to witness a genius at work. Watch and learn. An oil lamp.
An oil lamp?
Precisely. Isn't it ingenious?
A marvellous invention, I grant you. What do you want to do with it?
That's the clever part. I've hung a lamp like this over the Revenant's grave. All you have to do is shoot it down. It'll fall on the grave and burst into flames.
Well, that could work. Only...
Only what?
How can you be sure I'll manage to shoot it down?
I believe in you, Henry. You're my apprentice, versed in the ways of our craft.
Right, I almost forgot.
Anyway, you can practice. The lamp is already hanging up. It just hasn't been lit yet.
Aye, I'll give it a go. And then what?
Then you just have to goad our Felix into putting his money where his mouth is.
But what if he doesn't fall for it?
Refusing would ruin his credibility. Go and see him. I'll bet you anything, if you present it right, he'll jump at it.
All right, I'll give it a try.
Good. Don't delay, though. Practice with the lamp first, if you like, or just go straight to him.
I hope you're not after
eggs. Why?
Because they've almost all gone off. Can you imagine?
I don't think I want to.
Terrible it is.
Uh-huh.
Enough to make you wretch.
I see.
A diabolical stink. Like you've got a dose of...
All right, I get the picture.
Aren't you a bit oversent?
For now, anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Sucker. It's hellishly deep here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stomach also? Buy my potion made from magical herbs.
Yeah.
I've heard there's a revenant haunting these parts.
Ah, you don't want to believe those old wives' tales.
Well, it's not true then.
Of course not. It's just a lot of fairy tales.
You're kind of sure of yourself, aren't you?
That I am. And what's it to you?
Nothing. It's just that, well, bold talk doesn't prove anything.
Are you saying I'm lying?
Well, can you prove your claims?
What?
Well, supposing you spent the night at that grave, like you say. That'd prove there's no revenant, wouldn't it?
You reckon so? I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Besides, since you're so fearless, it'd be nothing to you, right?
Aye, that's right.
How about something to buck up your courage? Ah, probably not. You don't need it.
I don't, but it can't hurt. Thanks, Em.
So when are you going to do it?
Just as soon as I can in the evening.
Right. And now you can... Shh! Quiet, Henry. You'll give us away.
Sorry. What's that you're wearing?
What do you think it is?
I don't know, some new fashion?
It's my Revenant costume, of course.
My apologies, Master, for not recognising it immediately.
You obviously still have a lot to learn.
So did they come?
Yes, all three. They're camping at the top of the hill.
Right. I'll have time to get haunting then. Where do I start?
I'll leave that up to you. The main thing is to scare off the two cronies first. I'll take care of fearless Felix.
So I'll scare one off with the lamp?
Yes, just make sure no one sees you shoot it.
And the other one with fearsome noises.
That will probably take a few attempts. Ideally, a bit at a time.
Let him work up an appetite for more, so to speak.
I couldn't have put it better myself. Just don't give yourself away.
I won't, but if they do happen to see me coming...
Then you'd better vanish like a wisp of smoke, or make some excuse.
And what will you be doing?
I'll wait somewhere out of the way for a while, and then I'll crash in. So make sure the other two are gone by then.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
Please, God, no. I can't stand this. No, no, please, no. They're everywhere. They'll devour me. Jesus Christ, I've got to get away from here.
Leave me alone. Please. That was something.
How did you like that, eh?
Wonderful! I haven't had so much fun since I dressed up as the Pope.
Did you see him run? Like all the demons of hell were on their heels.
One was quite enough, evidently.
So what now?
Now I just wait for my customers to turn up. Come and see me tomorrow before noon, and you'll get your well-earned reward. Ah, my dear apprentice, how happy I am to see you.
So, it all worked out then?
Like a dream. I didn't sell half as much in Sasau.
That's good news. Now, about that thing you promised me.
Your well-deserved reward, certainly. Here you have it. Henry, what have you done?
What do you mean? I did what you asked.
Didn't you overdo it a bit?
I don't know, why?
Because I was left with nothing. They descended on me like a plague of locusts and made off with everything I had.
But that's a good thing, isn't it?
I'm not saying it's not. Just whether you didn't get a little carried away.
Well, if I did, it was only out of loyalty to my esteemed master. What will you do now?
I could go now. I've coin enough, but I'll wait a while before moving on.
Why? I thought you didn't want to stay too close to Sasau for long.
But what if you needed my help?
Indeed. How could I forget all you've done for me? Well, at least I'll know where to find you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good men and good wives.
Greetings. What business have you?
I got you that potion from the charlatan.
What charlatan? He's a man of learning who even cured the Pope of impotence. But thanks, Henry. I really appreciate your help. Once I drink this potion, every woman will faint at my feet. But I'm only interested in one. The fairest creature on God's green earth.
Yeah, the butcher's daughter, I know. And then what?
A rendezvous. She and I, under the cloak of night. And you shall be my herald of exalted words. You will hide and prompt me from a book of poetry.
I'll do what?
Here's a book of poems. I'll need a little time to get ready. Meanwhile, you can learn some poems off by heart. You'll prompt me.
Learn poetry? Me? That sounds... well, not exactly...
Stop wasting time and get to it. Come back to me in a couple of hours. I have to get dressed up and groomed, and it'll take a while before the potion takes effect. Goodbye.
Are you ready, Sir Hans?
Henry, something's gone wrong.
Open up. I'm not going to talk to the door.
That potion tasted rather odd, and now I have a feeling my face is broken out. How do I look?
You're imagining it, sir. You look as irresistible as ever, if not more.
But I feel as if I just fell face first into a nettle patch.
Well, you're just a little flushed from the excitement. It'll pass.
If you're sure. So, what do you think? Can we go to the rendezvous?
Why wait? Carolina won't be able to resist you.
All right, then. Lead on, heart. And you, Henry, follow me.
God be with you, Henry. Hey.
Tell me, Henry, how many girls have you had in your life? If you've had any at all, that is.
Well, there's been a few, but I'm sure I can't compare with you.
Ha! Very true. One day plays will be written about my amorous adventures.
Comedies or tragedies?
That might depend on how things go tonight. There's another very pretty girl living in this house here, but she's already got a suitor.
When has that ever bothered you?
Since the time her fellow threw me headfirst into a dung heap and kicked my arse for good measure.
It seems your future subjects don't hesitate to take a stick to you when it comes to minding the womenfolk.
I doubt he would have done it if he recognized me. I was, incognito. We're almost there. You'll hide behind a gravestone or in the bushes and don't budge from there. Otherwise you might scare her off.
Hide, Henry. Time to get started. How do you know it's her who will come out and not someone else? She got the letter and necklace, didn't she? She knows that that is, her secret admirer is coming. And what am I supposed to do? What do you think, dolt? Prompt me from that book of poetry.
Who's there? I can't see you.
Your most ardent admirer, fair maid.
Uh-huh. And do you have a name?
What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would still be a flower, wouldn't it?
Start. How?
What are you saying? I can't hear you.
Gentle night, why linger on? I yearn thus for my love so long. Without her words to still my breast, who shall set my soul to rest?
Gentle knight, why linger on? I earned this from my love so long. Whip out your worthy silky breasts. Who shall suck my salty bits?
No! And now my heart in sorrow dwells, from melancholic pining swells, since I, alas, was forced to part from the mistress of my heart.
I know my horses sort of well, some alcohol from 9 to 12. Seems I always have whores apart from the mistress of my heart.
Psst. What on earth are you saying?
What's that hissing?
It's, a feral goose here in the bushes.
Ah, Lord, let me not wait in vain. I long to see my love again. O gentle sir, be of good cheer. I shall not cling to another dear.
Landlord, let me not wait in vain. I long to sing and laugh again. O gentle sir, get off your chair. I shall not bring you another beer.
Jesus, Henry! What kind of yokel nonsense are you babbling? Me? You're the one who's babbling?
You're an odd one. I've never heard such peculiar poetry in my life. Where on earth did you come up with it?
It's the latest fashion in France. You've done enough harm. Better shut up and leave it to me.
How did you like it, dearest?
Ah, how tender you are. Father is coming! Hide!
Who is that talking? If it's some dandy again, I'll gut him with my filleting knife.
I didn't hear anyone.
Did you hear what he said? Oh, I have a bad feeling about this, Hans. I think we should...
Are you still there?
Still here, my love. How could I have apart from you?
Father's coming! He'll kill you!
He will not. Because it'll never cross his mind where I'll be. Henry, it's time for me to claim my prize. Whatever happens, cover my back.
There you are, you seducer! Now you'll see how a butcher protects his daughter's honor.
Buy me time.
You got some explaining to do, you bastard.
What are you after, you bastard, sneaking around an honest citizen's house in the dark?
I went to mourn over the grave of my great-grandmother.
Oh, yeah. Then what are you doing right beneath my window, eh?
Now, the question is, why are you trampling on great-granny's grave, eh?
Enough of your horse shit. One more word, and I'll have you.
You really came.
How could I not, my dearest?
Not so fast, Prince Charming. But, since you're here...
Hey, what was that?
What was what?
That noise. I'm sure I heard a strange noise.
We're here in the cemetery. Maybe restless spirits, what do you reckon?
I'd swear it came from the window of my own house.
Well, what's that got to do with me?
Someone's been creeping around after my daughter. I come out, and I find you here. Quite a coincidence, eh? So, out with the truth.
You're quite mistaken. I've never laid eyes on your daughter, and if she looks anything like you, I'd rather keep it that way.
Why, you fucking...
Mon petit lapin.
There's a lace here. Untie it.
Don't try to make a fool of me. I heard it clearly. What was that?
Are you all right? It seems to me you're hearing things other folk can't hear. That's not good.
You're saying I'm hearing voices in my head?
Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. St. Euphrosyne of Polotsk heard voices too, and she founded a monastery and churches and things.
I heard voices too. Well, could have been voices. I wouldn't swear to it, though.
Look, fellas, I was standing right here, and I didn't hear a thing. Do you take me for a madman?
Whatever you are, I want to know what you're doing under my daughter's window, and who was talking to her. I heard it clear as day.
Good neighbour, it can't be denied that old age dulls a man's ears. I'm here alone, praying for the souls of the good people resting in the cemetery. I've nothing to do with your daughter.
That voice sounded different to yours, though. But where did he get to? You must have seen him. Unless you're covering for him.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
Jasem skutni hori kodelnikov syn.
What the fuck are you playing at? My patience is wearing thin.
Jasem skutni hori kodelnikov syn.
Jesus, stop your damn screeching.
Na kopeczku stala plakala. Jezu, Maria, volala. Jezu, Maria, Jezu jemine. Budale tu chlapec nebone. Budale tu chlapec nebone.
Christ almighty. Let's go, fellas. This one ain't right in the head. The guards will have him for screeching after curfew. Let's not get mixed up in it. But if I ever see you here again, I'll beat some sense into your idiot skull.
Greetings. What business have you?
How did it go with Carolina, Sans?
Henry, it was the most wonderful night of my life. She was completely entranced by my courting. I hardly had to touch her, and she melted in my arms. And then she took me to paradise. It was glorious. It was sublime. Thanks, in part, to you, my faithful henchman and messenger of love. You've earned your reward.
It was an honour, Sir Hans. When are you going to see her again?
Oh, I'm not going to see her again. All beautiful things must come to an end, and, after all, I am a nobleman, and she is the butcher's daughter.
Well, that's how it ends, with the love of your life. After the secret gifts, the letters, the intrigues, reciting poetry in the moonlight.
My eloquence was wasted on her, Henry. Imagine, the silly cow couldn't even read. She returned the letter to me unopened. Here's the letter, Henry. Read it. At least you're capable of appreciating my literary talent. Read and learn from a poet.
Goodbye.
Greetings. Good luck then.
Well, bearing in mind, Master Butcher, that we have nothing to come to agreement about yet.
Well, yes, sir. No, sir. Well, I thought I ought to let you know what happened. My daughter's good name could be besmirched, dragged through the mud. And his young lordship's too, of course.
Well, only if she should find us... Only if she should find herself with a permanent reminder.
Well, that could happen yet, sir, couldn't it? If her belly starts to grow. You know how word gets around, and, well, folk would assume that Sir Hans is the father, even if some other young fellow was to come along in the meanwhile, and, well, and we already know, the girl can't be watched.
Are you trying to blackmail me? Have you forgotten that I am the lord of this town, and that you are nothing but a stinking butcher?
Oh, God forbid, sir. I'm just thinking of his young lordship's reputation, and my girl's. But, of course, if his young lordship was to recognize the bastard as his own, and pay for his upbringing...
You can thank your lucky stars you're the only butcher around here. Otherwise, I'd have you out on your ear this very day.
But, sir, I'm only...
Here, take this, you damn scoundrel, and never show your face here again.
Oh, thank you, your lordship. I'm sure this will be enough. Thank you, sir. Thank you kindly.
Blasted fool Capon. I'll wring his neck. I'll have his balls on a platter!
What the?
God be with you, lad. What can I do? See you later.
Hey! I know you! Clear off before I lose my temper.